family. With the holidays coming up soon, I'm going to take you back to the basics today. And what I mean by that is I'm going to show you a basic table setting, tablescape, and I'm also going to throw in some serving tips. Now, I want to start this episode off by telling you how I got into the hospitality industry. Now, I got into the hospitality industry through two people. One, my mother, and my husband. Now I'm going to share my mother and I's story now, and then my husband's story on the back end. Now this is going back, say, about 25 years ago. My mother, who was a nurse, saw in the newspaper that this temporary agency was hiring for banquet servers. Don't know why she was interested in that for that weekend, but she talked me into going along with her. Now, she said, call the agency, get the information, and we'll go on Friday and Saturday. So I did just that, and I can remember back, say we had to be there maybe like at 5 o'clock, and I can remember from the parking lot to the venue, I'm fussing, my mother's laughing, and I'm fussing about how you got me into this, and I'm only gonna do it for an hour, 2 hours, then I'm going home, and we both were laughing. And just so happened, I think we did maybe like 3 or 4 hours. The job actually was for this company who would have large events. I mean, like 800 to 1,100 people events. And their staff wasn't able to accommodate all of that, so they would hire temps. But the nice part about them hiring temps was you would get there, say like at 5, and it would start maybe around 6 o'clock, and we would serve all the courses that they were having that particular dinner. And by the time the dessert would go down and we'd coffee our tables that we were assigned to, we could leave. So keep in mind, we never had to do the setup and we never had to do the cleanup. Okay, great. Now, put a pin in that part of the story, and I'm going to take you into a basic table setting, tablescape, and then on the back end, I'm going to finish this story. Stay with me. Okay, starting with my basic table setting, tablescape. Now, I've always suggested if you're going to entertain, say, more than 2 or 3 times or more during the year, you might want to purchase a tablecloth runner, a table runner, and say matching napkins of a neutral color. If not, you can rent tablecloths and napkins and runners at a reasonable price, and you take them back to them and they launder them. Okay, that's included in your price. But today I'm going to show you how to do a basic tablescape without a tablecloth. So I have my placemats here. And now, because I'm going to be moving around my table, you will see me, and you probably have seen me, eyeing where my place setting, centerpiece, whatever would go. That's because when I was taught to work off the back of my chair. Okay? So I'm going to place my placemats. I'm going to set up for my centerpiece. Now, these scarves that you've seen me use from time to time are just those pashmina shawls that you can buy. I picked them up at one of my local department stores. Sometimes they're on sale for like $5 or $6. The other day I seen them for like $2.99. That's probably the lowest I've ever seen them. And I pick them up and use them for table runners. And depending on what the length is of your table, you may be able to take one of those and it draped the whole length of your table. And with it, all you do is just judge it a little bit. There is no perfect way, okay? And now I'm going to use this vase with flowers in it. And I love hydrangeas. So when I came across this at my local thrift store, I picked it up. It was already settled with, it looks like it might have been like, you know how you put that liquid glue in and then you put the flowers in? That's what it is, because the flowers don't move. And I think I picked it up for maybe like, say $5. You can't beat that. Perfect centerpiece. Okay? Now I'm going to chase that with my bronze color charger plates. Now, you can buy charger plates. These were, I think I picked these up some years ago at Michael's for like $1.99. You can't beat that. Now I do have nicer charger plates that I paid as much as like $25 for one. So they can range, like I say, anywhere from like $2 all the way up. I'm sure you can even pay more than $25 for charger plates. Okay, I'm going to chase that with my Elegance china. Now, I don't know if you remember or if you've seen the episode where I shared that my Elegance outlet was going out of business, and I picked up my set 8-place setting, I think for like maybe $150. But the same thing that I'm doing using the Elegance china, you can do with your everyday dishes. I'm chasing that with my salad plate. And now I'm going to place my flatware. I have a dinner fork and a salad fork. Okay, I have my knife. Your knife, the rigid edges are going inward towards the plate. And my teaspoon. And because I'm going to be serving soup, I'm placing a soup spoon beside my teaspoon, right beside it. Okay, for dessert, if you know what you're serving for dessert, you can place a spoon or a fork at the top of your charger plate. If you're undecided or you need both, place both. But if you place both, you're going to turn your spoon this way and then your fork in the opposite direction at the top of your plate. I'm placing a spoon. Now my water glasses are going to go above my knife. My wine glass is going to go above my teaspoon. Okay, my bread and butter plate is going above my forks. Okay, my coffee saucer will go next to my soup spoon. But let me say this. You do not have to, when you're setting a table, place your coffee saucer and coffee cup at dinner time. You can actually place your saucer and your coffee cup when you serve dessert. I'm just setting it so that I can show you where it's supposed to go. Now, my coffee cup handle should go at 3 to 4 o'clock if you want to be correct. The handle should be at 3 or 4 o'clock. And you can just buy it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And now I'm going to place my soup bowl right on top of my salad plate. Because when you're serving, it's going to be your hors d'oeuvres, your soup, your salad, your meal, and your dessert. Stay with me. I have some serving tips to share. Okay, family, I forgot to place my napkins, so I'm going to do that now. Now, I'm just placing my napkin 2 to 3 inches under my charger plate. And while I'm doing that, I didn't mention that the charger plate is not only for decor purposes, but it actually is used to prevent spills and stains on your linens. And in this case, it would be my placemat, since I don't have a tablecloth on. And like I said, just 2 or 3 inches under your charger plate, let it hang down. Okay, now let's talk about how to properly serve your guests. 2 things I want to mention before I say how to clear the table and how to serve your guests. 1, always serve your guests from a place of love. 2, always make your guests feel welcome. Okay, let's start off with just a couple tips that I want to add. If you're having a sit-down dinner, I was taught that whatever serving course that you're on, that is what you want to clear. For instance, if I'm serving soup and it's now time for me to clear the soup, you're going to actually serve your guests on the left and you're going to clear them on your right. Now, if everybody's finished, I'm waiting for everybody to finish the soup. If everybody's finished with their soup, I'm going to actually clear the soup bowl and also the soup spoon. So you're going to clear each course, whatever dishes and flatware for that course. But let me say this, if you can't get that, say for instance, you are clearing the salad plate, but the salad fork is off. And when I mean off, I mean it may be to the left and it's too far for you to reach in to get, and you're going to have to lean over or make your guests uncomfortable. It's not that big of a deal. Leave it there. But the ultimate goal is to clear each course so that when you get down to, say, the dessert, you have the dessert flatware, the dessert plate, and you have, say, the coffee saucer and the coffee cup. Now, I have a picture here that I'll demonstrate for water, when you're serving water. When you're serving water, typically, I would always grab the stem of your glass and pour away from your guest. Now, even if it's water, juice, whatever, you don't want that to get on your guest. So I would always, when I served, pull it away from, take it away from my guest and then place it back. Again, filling it, your juice, and if you're serving water or wine or coffee, that's the only things you're going to serve on your right. But you're going to, for food, you're going to serve them on your left and you're going to clear them on your right. Now, let me say this about wine. I learned at the country club how to open a bottle of wine. Haven't opened a bottle since I left the country club, but it's all in your wrist. And when I say it's all in your wrist, and because I don't serve alcohol at home, I don't actually have a bottle of wine, but I can tell you that you're going to pour this way, and then while you're pouring, when you get to where your glass is to whatever amount you want, you're going to turn your wrist and you're going to pull up, and that'll stop you from making a mess or any spills onto your guests or plates or your linens. Okay? Now, stay with me. I'm going to finish my story. Okay, family, let's conclude the story of how I got into the hospitality industry. Now, at the beginning of the episode, I shared how I went to do banquet serving with a temporary agency, but I had never did a from the start to finish banquet. So now, fast forward to say about 2 years after that, I found myself needing a evening part-time job. So I got a position as a banquet server at a country club. Now, again, keep in mind, I had never done a event from the beginning to the end. So this particular day, I started, say, like on a Tuesday, as I can remember. And I remember starting, say, at 4 o'clock and the event leaving about 10 o'clock. So that puts me all in about 6 hours. Now, when I got ready to leave the country club, I could feel that my tuxedo was going one way and my hair was going another. Just at that point in time, I walked out of the country club and the valet gentleman took one look at me and said, "Give me your keys." I gave him my keys, which my truck was like a football field away from where I was standing. He brought my vehicle up to me, said to me, how far do you have to go? I said 10 minutes, no traffic, 15 if traffic. Okay, great. Now, I get home and I walk in my home and my husband's in the family room and he says, "How did it go?" Well, that's all he had to say is, "How did it go?" And I took it from there. Now, keep in mind, and there's a reason why I'm sharing this story, because sometimes we just don't know the whole vision of what God has in store for us. And at this point in time, I did not know that, and I was just about to mess it all up. Let me explain. I proceeded to tell my husband that my feet were swollen, I was tired, everything negative that I could think of those 6 hours that I did, I said. At the end of that discussion, my husband said, "Okay, if you don't like this and you don't want to do it, Friday, give them a 2-week notice." Now, I thought by Friday and then another 2 weeks. So in my mind, I wouldn't last another day. But I am so grateful as I look back on that my husband didn't say, "Don't go back tomorrow." Because when I tell you how the Lord had blessed me with staying there, I wouldn't know any of what I know today, present day, if I hadn't worked those couple years at the country club. Now, I started off as a banquet server, but because of my skills and my personality, I ended up doing private parties, which would consist of birthday parties, baby showers, anniversaries. I then went on to work in the family dining room. Then that led me on to the formal dining room. And I also bussed tables when people would call off. So I had done it all. Fast forward a couple of years after that, I found myself then wanting to do what I was doing for them for myself. And also I was teaching the youth and others at my church how to take the dinners and banquets that we would have to another level. So just at that point in time, as God would have it, as I went to thank all of the members, and say goodbye for the couple years that and the memories that we all made there, they said, "Well, what are you going to do, Kim?" And I said, "Well, it's my time now to go out on my own and start my own business and all." And if I could tell you, every member that I actually said goodbye to said, "I want a party. I want to book a party once you get everything done and up and running." And I even had, which I was so appreciative, one member, she said, "Come to my home next week for lunch." She was a business owner and she wanted to give me some tips. And I took a tablet along and pen, and she poured into me and all that she experiences and all her business experiences for me was priceless. I totally appreciated everything. Now, at the same time that I'm building a clientele where money is no object, at the same time, I then get a phone call from a local church who happened to see what I had done with my church, and they were actually moving into their new church. and they wanted to use my services. Now, using my services, they didn't know that I was just starting out, and my first event was a reception for 250 people. Unheard of. When I tell you that those people, shout out to Dr. Carl and First Lady Crystal Easley for the love that they showed me and entrusting me to, when I tell you to show up and show off for them, it was great and it was such an honor. And when I tell you, when I would go back and visit their church, they would not only love on me when I went back and visited, but when they see me out in the community, the love that they showed me was priceless. Now, I'm sharing again, it was in my spirit for a couple of years now to share this story. I don't know who it's for, but I pray it's not too late. And I want to emphasize, I'm sharing this story because, again, if I hadn't stayed in position, I would have never acquired the skills I needed to do it for myself. And if you could see how staying in position and acquiring those skills allowed me to then go off and actually do my own business. I say all that to say, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know your comments in the comment section. And until next time, be blessed.